that as great as our country is and as great as our people are, our leaders let them down regularly. I worry about that because the fact is our country deserves better leadership than we've had for a very long time. It deserves a Congress that works together.
But he is different.
It deserves...
You're putting him in a continuum with people who I never liked.
But Bill,
like George Bush,
who
I would pay to be president.
You know what the... What the cure is for our current situation is, as fast as possible, look at every good nomination in the opinion of the Senate and unanimously consent, get them through. Get through hundreds or thousands of confirmations of people that are acceptable. Don't stall anyone that's good.
Look,
because the faster we fill out the government, the faster the government is run by people that are mutually acceptable. And there's a lot of them.
Which were the good ones?
Which were
the members of the cabinet? Who's your favorite? Jeff Sessions is your favorite?
General now Secretary Kelly is absolutely qualified and excellent.
And the new Homeland and the new National Security.
New National Security.
How is Pruitt
I think we're going to have a good
for anybody?
General Dunford is also well respected. So we have General Dunford. He's on.
He's a carryover, but
Obama
appointed him. These are the odds are too low. This is like buying a lottery ticket.
Representative Darrell Issa sat across from Bill Maher. The stage was set for a collision between two starkly different political perspectives. Issa, the veteran Republican congressman known for his sharp defense of conservative policies, found himself in the hot seat as mayor. HBO's unfiltered liberal provocateur took aim at the Trump administration's contradictions, economic policies, and cabinet appointments. The discussion wasn't just another partisan brawl, it was a microcosm of America's deeper political divide. While Issa pushed a pragmatic institutionalist approach, arguing that government must function regardless of who occupies the White House, Maher countered with relentless skepticism, questioning whether Trump's leadership was leading the country down a dangerous path. The tension between cautious cooperation and outright resistance defined their exchange, reflecting the broader national debate over how to handle an unprecedented presidency. Let's watch how the tense political situation will change from the colorful perspective of the top brains in the hot seat. Don't miss it.
Is absolutely qualified and excellent.
And the new Homeland and the new National Security.
New National Security.
How is Pruitt
I think we're going to have a good
for anybody?
General Dunford is also well respected. So we have General Dunford. He's on.
He's a carryover, but
Obama appointed him.
These are the odds are too low. This is like buying a lottery ticket.
But the fact is, the sooner we don't have a Secretary of the Army. The Secretary of the Army nomination pulled out. You can't confirm those you don't have.
Right.
But those that are lined up, let's get them through as quickly as possible because America is better.
Except some of them are terrible. What's the hurry to confirm somebody who's terrible?
Most of them I've heard of are terrible.
Well, all of them are horrible.
No. But Senator, just us, nobody else. The fact is, if you take all of them that you know are going to be confirmed, that are reasonably good, that have been properly vetted, and you just look at Chuck Schumer and say, look, we're going to UC all these guys, let's get them there. And then, by the way, let's take all the time in the world, no matter whether someone's high or low, to slow down the ones we object to.
And that's exactly what's happened. We approved Elaine Chao in about 10 minutes.
Right.
And Mattis, and we did a 60-vote rule change to allow Mattis to go through. It took one day. So if the nominee is good, it can move fast.
How can you blame this on the Democrats? How can you blame this horrible cabinet on the Democrats?
No. What I'm blaming is it.
Or stalling.
And by the way,
who invented the stalling? Why do you have a Supreme Court nomination? You shouldn't have one.
The discussion on the role of political figures and institutions in Trump's presidency underscores a fundamental debate about the strength and integrity of American democracy. The historical comparisons to past administrations reveal a pattern of institutional strain, where partisan battles over Supreme Court nominations and executive appointments have intensified. While Senate obstructionism is not new, the blocking of Merrick Garland's nomination and the rushed confirmation of Trump's picks exposed a shift toward raw political gamesmanship over traditional checks and balances. The role of Congress and the courts in checking executive power remains a cornerstone of democratic governance, but the Trump era tested these institutions like never before. His administration pushed the boundaries of executive authority, often challenging constitutional norms, and the response from Congress varied along partisan lines. While some lawmakers sought to uphold institutional integrity, others enabled or excused actions that might have been condemned under previous presidents. This dynamic raises a critical question for future administrations. Can institutions maintain their role as impartial arbiters of power, or will they continue to be leveraged as tools for partisan advantage? Perhaps the most pragmatic argument in the discussion was the call to prioritize competence over party loyalty in government appointments. In an era where ideological purity often trumps experience, the danger of unqualified leadership cannot be overstated. The chaotic early months of Trump's presidency, marked by high turnover and controversial picks, highlighted the consequences of valuing political allegiance over administrative expertise. If institutions are to function effectively, the priority must be on ensuring that government positions, particularly in agencies vital to national security, public health, and economic stability, are filled by individuals who are not only aligned with policy objectives, but also capable of executing their duties with competence and integrity.
Him said it.
Right,
okay.
I know.
The fact is, though, that if we take, and you're right about a couple of nominations, although I can't figure out why Chuck Schumer suddenly decided Elaine Chao should be voted no on. But that was not a wise move. But if you look at it and you take 30 hours for each person, it will be the 25th re-election of Donald Trump before you'd get one cabinet and all the staff in.
Good.
So, no, it's not good.
Okay.
We have an obligation, we all have an obligation to get people in so the government runs.
Well, I will say
we should say no to some people, and you have.
One of the problems
All right.
is Merrick Garland.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
what happened to him
10 of the
is so
problems are-
unconscionable
Unconscionable.
that there are a lot of people in
Yes.
the Senate who just aren't feeling all
And
that
I
excited
know that's
about
not
it.
your specific department, but it is your party that was always pulling the Constitution. I carry it around in my pocket, but you don't read it. Because it says that the president
By the way,
gets
for
the
Fran,
pick.
it's on the iPhone. Okay?
It's on the
I don't
iPhone.
need the paper one.
All right.
In fairness, though, Richard Nixon saw not one but two of his appointments turned down until he picked an outright leftist. It is not new for the
Leftist.
Senate.
Who was a leftist?
Blackman.
One of the most contentious debates in modern American politics is how the left should approach Trump's supporters, engage with them in an attempt to bridge the divide, or reject them outright as enablers of a dangerous political movement. This dilemma, reflected in the discussion, underscores the deep polarization that has come to define the national discourse. From a strategic standpoint, outright rejection of Trump supporters as racists or uninformed may feel cathartic to progressives, but it risks further alienating a significant portion of the electorate. Political movements thrive on coalition building, and dismissing millions of voters outright could backfire, reinforcing the perception that coastal elites and liberal institutions are out of touch with middle America. Historically, political shifts occur when parties expand their reach, not when they double down on ideological purity. On the other hand, the argument for rejecting Trumpism outright is not without merit. Many on the left view Trump's presidency as a fundamental attack on democratic norms, racial and social progress, and truth itself. To them, engaging with his supporters risks normalizing dangerous rhetoric and policies. They argue that history will not look kindly on those who tried to find common ground with movements rooted in nationalism, misinformation, and authoritarian tendencies. The reality is that political polarization is not simply a matter of policy disagreements. It is an existential clash over values, identity, and the future of democracy. While some Trump supporters may be persuadable, others are deeply entrenched in an alternative reality fueled by right-wing media and conspiratorial thinking. This creates a challenge for Democrats and progressives. How do you reach voters who fundamentally distrust mainstream institutions and media? A pragmatic approach may lie somewhere in the middle. Instead of blanket rejection, the left could focus on engaging working class and economically disaffected Trump voters who may be open to policy discussions that improve their material conditions. At the same time, they can reject the more extreme factions of Trumpism, white nationalism, authoritarianism, and election denialism without legitimizing them as reasonable political positions. Ultimately, political engagement is a long game. If the goal is to rebuild a more unified and functional democracy, both sides must recognize that demonization alone will not heal divisions. However, engaging in good faith must be balanced with a firm stance against racism, misinformation, and anti-democratic behavior. Anything less risks perpetuating a cycle of resentment and extremism that will continue to destabilize the nation. Thanks for watching. If you like similar content, please comment below. We will listen and bring the best videos. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.